And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Residents of Newtown, Connecticut have begun holding the first of many funerals for the 27 victims killed in Friday's shooting rampage at Sandy Hook Elementary School. On Monday, Noah Pozner and Jack Pinto, both 6 years old, were laid to rest in small caskets. Rabbi Edgar Gluck recalled the words of Noah's mother during the memorial service in which his brief life was remembered.
She spoke about him in glowing terms. And the main thing that she left was one point that she said, whenever she told him, "I love you," his answer to her was, "Not as much as I love you."
The other child buried Monday, Jack Pinto, was a major fan of the New York Giants football team. His favorite player, Victor Cruz, paid personal tribute by writing "R.I.P. Jack Pinto" and "Jack Pinto, my hero" across his cleats during a game on Sunday. Pinto was buried in a red and white jersey with Cruz's number. Later in the day, Democratic Congressmember Christopher Murphy, Connecticut's senator-elect, led the House of Representatives as it observed a moment of silence to mourn the shooting victims.
Is it all those wonderful little faces that you see on TV and in the newspaper, like Noah Pozner, who was laid to rest this morning? They're a reminder that despite the terrible, awful things that happen, that inside the hearts of all of us is this unbelievable goodness. That's all Noah Pozner had, was goodness, was just this purity of spirit. Newtown's going to survive this because it's a close town, and they hurt more because they're close, but they also can survive because they're close. And they can also survive because they just will get this inspiration from these 20 little kids who just are asking this town to remember how good they were and try to equal that. As Newtown wrestles with this grief and recovery, the thoughts and the prayers from others matter. I want to thank everyone here for all of the individual love that you've showered down upon our little town. I want to thank the Connecticut delegation here with me today for all of their support. It helps in some small way to know that the world is grieving with us. So, Mr. Speaker, I would ask that the House now rise.
Connecticut Senator-elect Chris Murphy leading a moment of silence in the House of Representatives. Meanwhile, Connecticut Governor Daniel Malloy has called for a national moment of silence this Friday, 1 week after the Sandy Hook shooting. Malloy spoke with reporters Monday, echoed a growing call for more gun control legislation at the federal level.
These guns aren't used to hunt deer. You know, I'm a big believer in hunting rights. Big believer in supporting the Second Amendment, but there is a reality that this stuff is going too far and is too easy to own. And then the whole point of your question is that Connecticut has these laws. In the absence of a federal framework in which we limit really the explosive nature of the weapons and ammunition that's used, no state would ever be safe based on simply its own laws. That's why the Brady Bill, that's why the assault weapons ban was so very important. Politics played a role in allowing that to expire. Politics should play a role in having it be reinstituted.
Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein of California has already promised to introduce a new assault weapons ban on the first day of the new Congress, challenging President Obama to back the bill. Obama's vowed to use the power of his office to prevent more mass shootings. But speaking Monday, White House Press Secretary Jay Carney had few details of what the solution might look like.
The president, as you know, has long supported reinstating the assault weapons ban that expired in 2004. And as the president has said, and I just said, this is a complex problem that requires a complex and a variety of solutions. So I don't have a specific policy outline for you today from the president. And I think that it's important to remember that this is about our gun laws and enforcing them, but it's also about a broader series of issues, including issues of mental health and education and the like. So the president's position on the assault weapons ban has not changed. He still supports its reenactment, but you'll hear from him, I think, as he said last night, in the coming weeks to speak more specifically about what he thinks we can do moving forward.
Well, as the debate over gun control is revived in the wake of the Sandy Hook shootings, we turn now from Newtown, Connecticut to Newtown, Australia, where gun laws were immediately revised following the worst mass murder in the country's history. On April 28, 1996, a gunman from Newtown, Australia, opened fire on tourists in Port Arthur, Tasmania, killing 35 people and wounded 23 more. This is an Australian television report on the incident from the day of the shooting.
Helicopters began ferrying the injured to Hobart from Port Arthur after a gunman opened fire there this afternoon.
We've had a gunman run amok on the Port Arthur historic site. That's 85 k's from Hobart. It happened mid-afternoon. There are at least 12 confirmed dead, if not 22. There's a further 15 injured, and at the moment we have a hostage and siege situation which we're attempting to contain and control.
The convict ruins are a favourite with interstate and overseas tourists. It's understood those visitors have made up the bulk of those killed or wounded. Locals near the site cringed in fear inside their shops and homes as the gunman opened fire.
Everyone's just freaked out.
What do you understand he may have done?
Kill lots of people.
Any idea why?
No idea.
Any idea who he was?
No idea. Not a local, I don't think.
Do you know if any tourists have been involved?
Yes, there have been.
Oh, it just sounds awful.
It is awful. It's very, very awful.
The death toll eventually rose to 35 in what came to be known as the Port Arthur massacre. The person who carried out the mass killing was Martin Bryant, ironically from a place called Newtown. Well, just 12 days after the grisly attack and the public outcry it launched, Australia's government responded by announcing a bipartisan deal to enact gun control measures. The pact included agreements with state and local governments. Since the laws were passed, for more than 15 years, there's not been a mass shooting in Australia. After break, we'll be joined by the woman who led the campaign to reform Australia's gun laws after the Port Arthur massacre. This is Democracy Now! We'll be back with her. Thanks so much for watching this report from Democracy Now!, your daily independent global news hour. We don't accept advertising or corporate funding, but rather rely on donations from viewers like you. Please make your contribution by visiting democracynow.org. We need your support today to keep bringing you this hard-hitting, in-depth reporting.